your career development. We cannot deny the role of biology in developing each single skill of a human being. So if we go back to genetics, there were a lovely article, very interesting. Again, I was from 2004 to 2013, I was so much attached to the American Statistic Journal publication. And after 2013, it was a different dimension where I was trying to get more knowledge from Far East, especially Japan, China, and Singapore, and India. So if we go back to genetics, right now, it's very well known that majority, and we have to differentiate between leaders and manager. So there is a very well-defined fact that there is a gene which increases your risk to acquire specific skill faster than others. But that doesn't mean that the other who will spend longer time, they will not develop this skill. This is genetics. Then if we go to biology, this interesting article was in July 2022 in the Chinese Business Knowledge, where they looked at around, I want to say the figure exactly, 240,000 database of genetic analysis from people from European ancestry, and they looked at their occupation, especially as a leader. You cannot imagine, for only being a leader, your chance and risk for cardiovascular disease is higher, for bipolar disorder is much higher, and even the longevity, you will live shorter than other people who are not in leadership. So along with the leadership...
Thank you. Thank you for that.
But I'm coming up with an alternative where you can have a proper safety net for your future. So having all these risks, and if you have this type of mutation, which increase your risk, and we are talking about 240,000 samples from a European origin, not Chinese or Middle Eastern. So that itself, in my opinion, if we talk about talent, if we talk about training, it is very essential, at least to empower our future leader or staff with one simple genetic and epigenetic screening, not to identify who could be a leader. At least during the career development, we tend, especially the HR, they tend forgetting the health path of this individual. We keep giving them a training program in leadership, management, finance, crisis management. Hey, but there is a very essential part, and it would take nothing from that organization. And the other interesting factor goes back to our mother. So as you know, we have 46 chromosomes. I love this fact. I keep repeating it in any opportunities available, only for my husband and others to know how valuable we are in the life of smart children. As you know, we have 46 chromosomes. 44 chromosomes will define us as a human being, and the other 2 chromosomes, they will define us as a human being, male or female. If it happens that you took the X chromosome from your mother and you took Y chromosome from your father, you will be ending defined as a male human being. X from mother, X from father, you will be defined as a female human being. So if we go back to a very fast comparison between genetically the value and the information, genetic information, on X chromosome and Y chromosome. Poor Y chromosome, in the Arab country they keep saying, الريال ولد الريال. Excuse me. Biology says the other way around. Can you imagine that the X chromosome carries 2,500 genetic characteristics, while the poor Y chromosome, which almost always, when you try to examine the chromosome, it will be somewhere in the corner, even in that particular biological slide. So the Y chromosome carries 50 genetic characteristics in comparison to 2,500. And we'll go a little bit back to the Arab culture. I do remember till today that my grandmother, they said, تلثين الولد على خالة. 2/3 of the son goes to his uncle from the mother's side, maternal side. So again, that it's helped us a lot to understand. If I want to build a whole, and by the way, in United Arab Emirates, alhamdulillah, we came and we are aware about this early enough. Because of that, you see how well we in UAE as a woman are taken care of. So if I am as a woman, I am pregnant with my child, in the first 3 months of pregnancy, it's very critical for the mental well-being and personality. So we have to encourage not only the leader, even our staff. And I feel so sorry. For example, I've been through all the, let's say, all the ladder. I was only a physician in the clinic, where I have duty, later on director of small unit, and so on. During this career, and even in the leadership program, nobody taught me the difference between women leadership and male leadership. And the two decisions which I regret till today, nobody told me that my hormones and my period, especially estrogen and progesterone fluctuation, would affect my decision. That doesn't underestimate women, but at least as a woman leader, if I am aware about that early enough, I will build a team where not majority of them are women, at least 50-50 male and female, and I'll make sure that none of those, at least half of the team, are not having their period in the same time. And by the way, again, this is a biological fact as well. If you are a female in any organization for more than 6 months, you check it, Benat. You will end up having your period in the same week, believe me. It's a biology. So, in my opinion, it's very important to bear in mind the biology and the genetics of the leader, to make sure that we as a male and female, we complement each other. And as a leader, a female leader, it's very essential to be aware about my hormonal change. And if I have to take a very critical decision, and it happened that I had my period, I will have it tomorrow. So one day before my period and the first day of my period, I make sure I don't invite my mother-in-law. And I make sure that I will never take a critical decision, and I will build the whole decision through the team. And I don't work with the team, I work through the team, which simply means that anybody can take the decision while they are completely aware about the risk and the benefit. A final comment, sir.
Okay.
I'm trying to share my humble experience because it's not
taught. You're happy now.
Yeah, it's not taught in the book, and nobody told me in the best leadership school.
Right.
So the final point, which I believe also is very essential, is to bear in mind to have your risk assessment much bigger when it's come to a file than your own strategy. You cannot imagine. I learned this from my lovely leader, Sheikh Mohammed Rashid Habib. When we go and we sit and we try to present any project to him, for him, he said, what will, for example, what if tsunami happened in the Middle East? What if, so you come up with all these ideas. And what I learned even in my humble journey, I always make sure in the planning and in strategy and decision making, I have that guys who suffer from depression. And we will be 9 o'clock in the morning, he will say after 12 o'clock the sun will set. You need that less optimistic guy in your planning and in your decision, because he's the one who will bring the worst scenario might happen. And my team, usually they tend to dislike this person. They say, oh, Ba'adia, you know? They will be so happy, and I make sure he will be in before I finalize any project. And they will be happy that they find the whole risk assessment file ready. He will come and he will say, okay, what if the day of judgment happened in the same day we want to implement our strategy? Things which you never thought about. He will force the whole team to go back for 4 weeks to think about this bad thought which he had about. So being aware of our biology, being aware of our genetics, making sure that we have a less optimistic team member whenever we plan, So we have our risk assessment till plan S in place, not plan B only.
Thank you.